Over the last month, I've given you 2 complete script plans to break into cybersecurity. You had the SOC Analyst Sprint and then recently the GRC Analyst Sprint. Now, thousands of you have watched them and the feedback has been incredible. But here's the thing nobody tells you. The best roadmap in the world means nothing if you don't understand what happens after you hit that apply button. Now, I've been recruiting for 15 years. I've reviewed thousands of resumes. I've sat in hiring meetings where we've debated between 2 nearly identical candidates. And I've watched brilliant people get rejected for reasons that had nothing to do with their skills. So today I'm doing this video because I wanted to pull back the curtain. I'm going to show you exactly what happens on the other side of that application. What makes me pick up the phone, what gets you instantly rejected, and the tiebreakers that decide who gets the job when 2 candidates look exactly the same on paper. Now, this isn't just another how to get into cybersecurity video. I've already made that one and it's linked below if you need the full beginner roadmap. This is more about what happens next, the part most YouTube videos skip over. My name's Gough. If you're new here, hit subscribe and join our growing community. And if not, welcome back. If you haven't already, join my free newsletter. It's full of cybersecurity news and career insights. The link's below. Now let's get into the video. Section 1, what happens after you click apply? So let me walk you through exactly what happens when you submit an application for a junior cybersecurity role. Because most candidates quite honestly have no idea, and that lack of understanding could be costing them. Stage 1, you have the ATS filter. If you're not sure what that is, that's called the applicant tracking system. Now, not all companies use it, but it's becoming more prevalent. Now, the companies that do use this, think of it as a gatekeeper before a human ever sees your resume. It scans for keywords, qualifications, and basic criteria. So if the job description says Security Plus and your resume doesn't mention it anywhere, you might not even make it to a human reviewer, even if you're perfect in all the other boxes. This isn't about gaming the system, it's about making sure your resume actually reflects what you've done in language that matches what the industry uses. Now, a quick tip, read the job description carefully. Have the job description up, have your resume up next to it. If it mentions SIEM experience and you've built a home Splunk lab, make sure your resume says SIEM and Splunk explicitly. Don't assume they'll connect the dots. They won't. Step 2, the recruiter review. So if you get past the ATS, a recruiter or HR person or talent acquisition person will spend about 15 to 30 seconds on your resume. That's it. They're not reading every line, they're scanning for signals. What are they looking for? They're looking for relevant certifications, any hands-on experience, whether your resume makes sense as a coherent story, and whether you've actually targeted this specific role or just blasted your resume to 150 companies. I can tell you within seconds whether someone has been intentional about their application or whether I'm just one of 50 companies they've applied to that morning, and so can every other recruiter. Stage 3, the hiring manager shortlist. Now, the recruiter passes a shortlist to the hiring manager, usually 5 to 10 candidates out of maybe 100 applicants. The hiring manager then picks 3 to 5 for first round interviews. This is normally the case. Now, this is where it gets interesting because at this stage, the hiring manager is looking for something different from the recruiter. They're looking for evidence that you can actually do the job, not that you've studied for it, not that you've passed exams about it. They want to know that you've done something that resembles real work, and that's key. And that's exactly what we need to talk about next. That brings us to the 3 things that make me call you back. So after 15 years, I can tell you there are 3 things that constantly make me pick up the phone. Number 1, that's evidence of doing, not just learning. This is the biggest one, to be honest, and I cannot stress this enough. When I see a resume that lists Security Plus, CYSA Plus, maybe a Try Hack Me badge, that's fine. That tells me you've studied. But when I see a resume that says built and configured a home SIEM lab using Splunk Free to detect brute force attacks and lateral movement, followed by a GitHub link where I can actually see the work, now that's a completely different conversation. Now, if they also have Security Plus on there, they're laughing. The first resume goes in the maybe pile, the second one gets a phone call. Now, I've covered exactly how to build these kind of projects in other videos on my channel, so make sure you check them out. If you haven't watched those, they're linked below. Number 2, a clear narrative. So I need to understand your story in under 30 seconds. I need to know who you are, why you're moving into cybersecurity, and what have you done about it. The worst resumes I see are the scattered ones. A bit of IT support here, a random certification there, no LinkedIn activity, no portfolio, no thread whatsoever connecting anything together. The best resumes tell a story. So I spent 5 years in finance, became interested in security through compliance work. I earned my Security Plus. I built a portfolio of GRC projects, and now I'm targeting junior GRC analyst roles. Can you see how clear that is? That makes sense. I know exactly what to do with that candidate. So if you're not doing this now, think about that and try and implement that into your strategy. So if you're a career changer, this is especially important. Your previous career isn't a weakness. I don't want you to think that. It's context. But you have to frame it properly. I'll come back to this later because career changers actually have a secret advantage that most people don't realize. Okay, let's move on to the next part, being specific. When your LinkedIn headline says aspiring cybersecurity professional, that tells me nothing. It tells me you're interested in a very broad field and you haven't decided what you actually want to do. But when your headline says aspiring SOC analyst, Security Plus, CCDL1, Homeland projects, now I know exactly who you are, what you're targeting, and what can be done about it. I can immediately picture you in a role. The more specific you are about the role you want, the easier you make it for recruiters and hiring managers to say yes and to speak to you. Being broad doesn't keep your options open. It can make you invisible. Now, if you're finding this useful, please do hit that subscribe button. It really helps the channel. I'm covering all the angles of breaking into cybersecurity this year, from roadmaps to hiring processes to salary negotiation to I've got certification giveaways. Let me know in the comments which of these points surprised you the most. All right, let's get back to the next part. The 5 things that get you instantly rejected. Now for the uncomfortable part. These are the things I see constantly that will kill your application before it ever reaches a hiring manager. Rejection trigger number 1. This is the generic objective statement. Something like this: seeking a challenging position in cybersecurity where I can leverage my skills and grow professionally. I see this on probably 40% of junior resumes. It says nothing. It could be copy and pasted onto any application in any industry. If your resume starts with this, replace it with a 2-sentence summary that tells me exactly what role you're targeting and what you bring to it. For example, junior SOC analyst with Security Plus certification and hands-on experience building detection labs in Splunk. I'm looking to apply practical log analysis and incident triage skills in a tier 1 SOC role. Hopefully you can see the difference there. One is filler, the other is a signal. Okay, rejection trigger number 2, having no portfolio or GitHub. In 2026, if you're applying for a technical cybersecurity role and you have no portfolio, no GitHub, no blog, no LinkedIn posts, anything like this that shows your work, you're at a serious disadvantage. I'm not asking for enterprise level projects. I'm really not. I'm asking for evidence that you've actually done something. A home lab, maybe a write-up of a try-hack-me room, a risk assessment template you've built, anything that shows what you've done. The bar is lower than you think, but you have to clear it. Rejection trigger number 3, the cert-only resume. So Security Plus, CEH, CYSA Plus, CCDL1, it really is great. You've passed exams, but so have hundreds of other applicants. Certifications get you past the initial filter. They are necessary, but if your entire resume is just a list of certifications with no projects or no practical experience and no evidence of application, you're going to lose to the candidate who has fewer certs but can show they've actually done the work. Now, I said this in the SOC Sprint video and I'll say it again. Certifications get you past HR, your portfolio gets you the job. Okay, rejection trigger number 4, spelling and technical errors. This sounds really basic, but I need to talk about it. I do see it a lot, and if you're applying for a security role and your resume says Splunk as Splink or SEAM as CEAM, or you've misspelled cybersecurity itself, that's a problem. You might think, Luke, this is obvious, but trust me, it comes up. Cybersecurity is detail-orientated field. If your application is sloppy, what does that tell me about how you'll handle incident reports? And more importantly, what will that tell hiring managers? It tells me that potentially you're careless or you rushed your application. And in this industry, careless gets people let go. Proofread everything, then get someone else to proofread it again, then proofread it again. Hopefully you understand what I mean. Okay, rejection trigger number 5, applying for everything. Now, when I see a candidate that's applied for a junior SOC analyst role, a senior pen tester, a cloud security architect, and an IT help desk, all at the same company, it's an instant red flag, and I've seen this many times. Because it tells me and it tells hiring managers you don't really know what you want. It tells me you're hoping something sticks rather than being strategic about your career. And it makes me question whether you actually want this specific role or you're just desperate for any role. Now, I get it. Things are tough out there. You are desperate to get into a cybersecurity role. That might be the case. Don't let me see that. Don't let the hiring manager see that. Pick a lane, be specific. Apply for 5 roles a week that genuinely match your skills rather than 50 roles that don't. All right, that brings us to the next section of the video. Now, how hiring managers decide between 2 similar candidates. So this is the part that I never see people talk about. You've made it to the final shortlist. There's you and one other person. You both have similar certifications, similar experience levels, both did well in the interview, your cultural fit is excellent. To be honest, they could hire both of you, but there's only room for one. So how does the hiring manager decide? Now, after sitting in many of these conversations, I can tell you it comes down to 3 tiebreakers. Tiebreaker number 1, communication. Can you explain what you know clearly and concisely? In the interview, did you ramble for 5 minutes about a technical concept, or did you break it down in a way that showed you truly understood it? Cybersecurity professionals don't just work with technology, they work with people. So they have to explain risks to executives who don't understand technology. If you can communicate clearly, you have a massive advantage. Tiebreaker number 2, curiosity. Did you or did the other candidate ask good questions? This really is important. Did you show genuine interest in how the team operates, what tools they use, what challenges they're facing? I can tell you that the candidate who asks better questions will be in front. And tiebreaker number 3, documentation habits. This one often surprises people, but it comes up constantly. If you've been documenting your learning journey on LinkedIn, you've been maintaining a GitHub with clear readmes or writing up your lab projects, that tells the hiring manager something really important. It shows you're someone who documents their work. Now, in a SOC, documentation is everything. Incident reports, runbooks, escalation procedures. So if you've already have that ability to do this and you've shown the hiring manager that, this could set you apart. Okay, moving on to the next section, the career changer advantage nobody talks about. I want to finish with something that might surprise a lot of you here today, especially those of you who feel like your non-technical background is a disadvantage. I can tell you, in many cases, it's not. In many cases, it's actually the opposite. Here's what I've observed over the years. Cybersecurity professionals, career changers who come from structured professional backgrounds, often outperform fresh grads in interviews and in their first year on the job. You might ask why? Well, because they bring skills that you can't teach in university or in a certification course. If you've worked in finance, you understand risk. That's literally what GRC is about. If you've worked in project management, you understand how to coordinate complex initiatives and communicate across teams. Once again, essential in security operations. If you've worked in legal or compliance, you understand regulatory frameworks. That's half of what a GRC analyst does on day 1. If you've worked in any client-facing role, you know how to communicate with non-technical people. Once again, I always talk about this. It's a skill that takes junior level analysts years to develop, and you already have it. The mistake career changers make is hiding their previous experience or treating it as irrelevant. Don't do it, bridge it. Show the hiring manager how your 5 years in operations taught you the organizational skills that make you a better analyst. I built an entire video around this for GRC specifically, the 60-day GRC analyst sprint, and it's linked below. If you're a career changer, watch that. So let's bring it all together. If you want to actually get hired in cybersecurity, here's what matters from the recruiter side of the desk. Show evidence of doing, not just learning. Tell a clear story. Make it obvious who you are. Be specific, pick a role. Don't just apply for every cybersecurity job advertised at the company. Avoid the reject triggers, no generic objectives, no cert-only resumes, no spelling errors, etc. With the tiebreakers, communicate clearly, show curiosity, ask excellent questions, and document your journey. And if you're a career changer, own it. Your background is an advantage, bridge it, don't hide it. Now here's where all my recent content connects. If you need the full beginner roadmap, watch How to Get into Cybersecurity video linked below. If you want a focused sprint plan for SOC roles or GRC, they're below. And if you want to understand certifications like the CCDL1, I've reviewed that too, that's also below. I'm also offering 10% discount to anyone who signs up through my link. So if you are looking to do your CCDL1, check the link below. Now all those videos give you the skills. This video tells you how to turn those skills into the job. I hope you found this video helpful. If you have, hit subscribe, join the growing community, join my free newsletter. You'll get lots of value there. Thanks for watching. As always, keep leveling up your career. I'll see you on the next one.